favorite part of the finale?
Oh, favorite part. Wow. Hmm.
Mike, do you have anything lined up, or are you still thinking too?
I got my thinking cap on
You
still
see what
here.
happens when I don't prep these people? Nobody, nobody knows how they're all thinking about it. So I'll jump in real quick. This is the big one. So many shows.com, so many mashups. Mike, Pete, and Tracy, Stranger Things, period. Just everything. Stranger Things, everything. The start, the finish, the finale, how it ended, what you guys loved, what you didn't. What's up, guys? Say hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So I will get right into it. You guys are bigger Stranger Things fans than I was per se. I mean, I watched every
Hmm.
episode once only. You guys know a little bit more about the history. I do remember the beginning of Stranger Things when like I was like, wow, this show's really cool. I can't wait to watch the next episode. And I believe what was it, Tracy? Didn't you have the thing in your background like you had the alphabet like they did in the show?
Oh,
You had
that
the
was Wendy. Wendy. But yeah, I love that.
yeah, we had people that's it was big. I thought it was Tracy, but it was
Hmm.
Wendy. Shout out to Wendy. We miss you. I haven't heard of Wendy in a while.
I know.
I hope she still listens. Anyway, move on. But yeah, no, that was pretty cool. It was a big deal. Stranger Things, Dungeons and Dragons. Then the seasons went like 10 years. 5 seasons. The kids went from like 10 to 25. The ending was, I guess, I liked it personally. I guess I'll just ask you guys, did you like it or not? And we'll start with Tracy.
I liked it. Yeah, I was satisfied. Yeah.
You got the
Mhm.
closure you felt you needed.
Yeah, to me, and I explained to my son, it sort of had that 80s-esque kind of ending where it generally things ended well with popular 80s movies, but then if something wasn't so great, you had this little hope of something that may have happened, like with 11. So you can still just sort of work that out in your head. So I think a lot of people thought it was too easy of an ending or something, but no big character deaths and all that. But that's to me, I was class of 89 myself, and that's not how the movies ended usually in the 80s. People survived, so I'm all for it.
I
Oh,
just
so you,
want to
you
say,
guys are both class of '89 and they just graduated? All right, Mike, go ahead.
well, I just want to first say I believe, and then secondly, yes,
Yep.
I got the closure I that I was hoping for. At least it got an ending. I know there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of love. I mean, it's like at least you got an ending for a show. There's shows that
Hmm.
go 4 or 5 seasons that then they just don't get picked up, ends on a
Right.
cliffhanger, stuff like that. So I love that we got closure. It did a whole time jump at the end, so you get to see 18 months later, town's rebuilding still.
Hmm.
Baseball team is being coached by Steve, so yeah, I enjoyed it. It was plus the Dungeons and Dragons ending to the whole thing was great because my daughter's gotten really into Dungeons and Dragons the last few years here, so I she's been trying to get me to play Dungeons and Dragons with her. I just haven't had the time or it's like, sorry, football's on. Sorry, I'm too busy playing my fantasy football to play fantasy Dungeons and Dragons. So, yes.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, very, 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 like you said, Pete, closure. There was closure all the way around and no big major deaths of any of the characters. I thought for sure, one of them was going to bite the bucket.
So I liked it, but
But,
Steve should have died. When Steve fell and it went
Hmm.
black and he had
Hmm.
fell off the thing and the screen went black in my
Hmm.
mind because I was watching it live, like has it because I started at 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve, so I'm watching it and I'm like, oh no, there's too many people watching it right now, and the screen just went
Oh,
like I thought it
it went out.
disconnected, and then for a second I'm like, oh no, this is some Sopranos crap, but
Hmm.
it ended up coming back that he got saved. The hand saved him at the last minute, like you said. So he didn't go. There was no major deaths per se.
Hmm.
However, I do believe, and some people do believe, and this is the biggest controversy that I've seen. And so we'll go back to what Mike said a second ago. Mike, you said I believe, right? That's what you said before you broke. What do you believe?
that 11 is off living her own life and away from all these military people that wanted to use her blood to recreate the program.
That was the only question I really had for this. This is more a reaction piece, this mashup, but I wanted to ask you both. Do you think that his story about 11 was true and 11's alive, or do you think that was just a made-up story to make his friends feel better? And what happened with 11 really was she just disappeared and blew up with the upside down, and now she's gone forever, dead, dissolved, whatever, which is what I believe. And this was a conversation at my dinner table, so I wanted to bring it up to you guys. 11, you guys, Mike said alive. Tracy, you said you're going to go with alive?
I'm gonna go with alive. I don't think he necessarily. I don't think he said it just to make his friends feel good. I think it's something he's been exploring and wishes for. But I think it actually might be true. I'm not sure he's sold 100% on it, but it's like he's got hope in it. And then
Because before he told the story, they were like, "You're supposed to be this master storyteller, and you stink." And then he told this great story,
this great story. Yeah.
Great story that made them
So,
all cry.
Yeah.
the other thing I seen online was
Me too.
they were like that the one girl was in a coma for like 2 years, but then she graduated with everybody else. Like there was no consistency there. People were complaining about that. How does this happen?
Well,
To
she
me,
had
that's a
18
silly
months to
thing to.
catch up.
Yeah, that's a silly thing to complain about too.
Listen, we follow details, and we always try to look for the flaws in shows for the
Yeah.
most part. And I understand. See, what I think happened is I think Stranger Things, when it was being written, was going to go way longer. Was going to go 8, 9, 10 seasons. They were going to go longer with it with a Netflix deal. And I think they realized that your kids get older rapidly. We learned this with Walt in Lost, where one season he was a kid and the next season he was an adult, and you're like, I can't put this kid on the island no more. So you kind of had to write him off for a while.
Mhm.
We brought him back later. Walt's the man. Shout out to Walt. But I
Well, I
think
will
they
say.
realized.
Oh, go
Oh
ahead.
God, no, I want to hear what you have to
I
say.
will say that specific issue did how could she have graduated when we were watching it as a family? Somebody, my husband or son, was like, "Well, is she graduating?" Because it was a little unclear, or she must not be because she's not wearing her robe. And I was like, "Well, he got ready early. It's 2 hours later." And then I guess it was my son or someone said, "Well, no, she's probably not graduating because she missed all that time." And I was like, "Oh, I guess you could be right. Like we saw it." That could happen. But then, of course, she was there in her graduation gown
See,
graduating.
now I didn't think nothing of it, and I didn't care. Like, good
Yeah, I
for
didn't
her.
care.
It
Yeah.
solved the story for me. I live in a world where I understand TV is TV, and even though we discuss it and break it down, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
mad at anybody for any flaws in any shows because I could tell you how many times we talk about me and Mike on our Tulsa King mashups. That whole show is a big piece of Swiss cheese, and I love it. And we'll
Yeah.
have this sandwich with ham and rye on rye any day of the week. So,
Well, the
I mean,
question crossed our minds, so it's a valid question, I think. But then I don't care. I don't really care either way. But I will say things were a lot different with education back then. I think it would have been a lot easier to miss a bunch of time and do some kind of test or prove something that extra credit, whatever, and
if you could
get to
just pass the
graduate.
test and do some
There,
community service, we could work it out because there was different rules in the 80s
yeah,
than there
yeah.
is to
So
today. I agree with you a
I
thousand
could certainly
percent.
see it happening more back then
No
than
computers,
now.
you could just write shit in. um, so I believe personally, not that it matters. It's a moot point now. The last episode could have been broken up into 2 episodes easily. They could have had the war and then the result. But I'm fine with it being one whole. It's kind of like a movie. It was great.
Hmm.
Do you guys see a spin-off of any kind, or is this it for them and the
Well,
show and the Stranger Things world?
I never know what to believe anymore from different outlets or who tells the story. But from a couple places, I've heard that they are going to plan to delve into the story behind the man in the cave and how he came to have that briefcase and everything with no existing characters, completely different, separate. Which I'm kind of like, well, it's part of this story. How can it be completely separate? But anyways, that's what I've heard. Is it reliable? I'm not sure because I haven't done the research to know if that's reliable. But I've heard that a couple of places that could be a spinoff.
No,
Now, is
okay.
there an animation thing coming out that I heard about that might be? I don't know if I was going to ask you guys. I wanted to ask you guys. I don't want to look into it. I just wanted to ask you guys
I
to see if you
remember
heard
hearing
anything.
something about that a while back too. I don't know. I mean, I didn't
I could have sworn I heard something
prepare
that the writers were
for
writing
that.
more stories about the same world, but they were writing it in animation or
Hmm.
making it animated this way. They don't have to worry about the kids getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And they
okay.
can write stories like that, but which the Stranger Things world and those monsters involved. Now that we've been introduced to them and know who they are, but
Yeah,
like I said, people come up with, like you said, a lot of stories that are false reports and stuff.
yeah. I don't know, but that would be cool because cartoons were so big in the 80s. That would be
Yes.
cool to have a little,
Well, that's what I was
anthology,
saying.
like little story each week.
you can really do a lot of things with animation
Yeah.
that you can't do without a budget of trillions of millions of dollars in Hollywood.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
favorite part of the finale?
Oh, favorite part. Wow. Hmm.
Mike, do you have anything lined up, or are you still thinking too?
I got my thinking cap on
You
still,
see what
man.
happens when I don't prep these people? Nobody, nobody knows how they're all thinking about it. So I'll jump in real quick.
Yep.
I like the fact when I'll call them the adults, but they're the older kids, and they're all having like a beer, and they're all just discussing
Uh-huh.
their futures. And I'm like, this is cool because this is like the secondary characters. No offense, and I feel like they don't they all had important roles throughout the whole show, but they didn't really get their own moment to shine. And to see them all sitting around having like an adult beverage was a pretty cool moment for me. I felt like that was like kind of like, and the music was playing, and they were just kind of breaking it down, like, oh my God, Nancy really does this and blah blah blah. So
Hmm. Yeah,
I
that
thought
was
that was
interesting.
definitely one of my favorite parts of the finale. You guys
I mean,
Okay.
finish thinking?
I got one. If
okay.
Tracy, if you're ready or no.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I like Dusty's valedictorian speech at the end because I mean, it just kind of starts off, all, future
Normal.
this, that, all normal. All of a sudden, just
Webster's
takes a
dictionary
pivot.
defines valedictorian has blah blah blah.
And then,
Exactly.
of course, he did exactly what Eddie said he was going to do,
Yeah.
word for word.
And he
That
took off
was
his
my
robe
favorite
right.
part.
He took off his robe right away, and he was wearing that shirt too with
Yep.
the
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
at
Like Superman
graduation.
just.
He went rogue, and I guess that was kind of like an honor of Eddie, but it didn't seem very Dustin to me, even though he's grown up and he's not this.
Oh, it was so cliche. He does this cool valedictorian speech, and the hot girl, popular girls like, come down to my party, hang out. He's still a geek. You're still gonna be a geek.
Yeah.
You're fighting
Yeah.
monsters. Get out of my face. But what was your favorite part, Tracy?
I liked a lot of parts, but I do particularly like that Max and Lucas got a solid ending. Like it was very clear that they remained a couple and they got their movie date, and that was good to see that there was no ambiguity there. They're pretty much
Tracy is a
solid.
sucker for her Hallmark movies.
No,
Okay,
that's
she
right.
loves the
That's
happy
right.
ending.
That's
Oh,
right.
I can X this question 100 times, and 100 out of 100 times she will say she believes that the mage is alive and made it through and is not dead. That's just Tracy's heart. It's just too sweet and too kind for us.
Well, I also like that the new generation of kids, the middle school kids, have their D&D group
Which
now.
was somebody else said might be a spinoff.
That would be fun. That would be fun. And that they all remain friends because they were all just, they weren't necessarily all good friends before,
Yep.
especially with Derek, but they all became
Delightful
friends.
Derek.
Delightful
Delightful
Derek, yeah.
Derek.
What a horrible
I
nickname. Listen,
like his other nickname better.
Yeah.
listen. I've had some nicknames. Pete from the Street, Pete the Meat. I mean, I named him Midwest Mike. I mean, come on. We've had nicknames, but Delightful Derek might be one of the worst nicknames in the history of nicknames. I'm sorry. We even had Carrot Stick Boy at one point for one of our mashups or one of our
That's right.
podcasts.
That's right.
And Delightful Derek takes the nod and the worst nickname ever for a character ever.
I think it
Agreed or
was
disagree?
Agreed.
I like the way he delivered it though, the way he
Yes.
smiled
Oh
so
no, the
much.
guy's cool as shit, but the terrible name. Get a new
Yeah.
name. It's like
Yeah.
what is it? What does he say? I'm in Bronx Tale. Hey, my name's Collageno. If that was a kid, would need him a nickname. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So,
So, but I like that they stayed friends and a new little generation going forward.
Yeah.
any moments from Stranger Things that you want to talk about, like that over the years, or family moments, or things that brought you guys together, or didn't, or just anything before we wrap this up? I mean,
Well, I think it's still on the season 5, but I didn't particularly like that Nancy and Jonathan broke up, but I found it believable. They weren't there. There were cracks in that relationship, so I didn't like seeing it, happen, but it did make sense with how the story had been going, and I'm glad they can still be friends and all that. So if I had to pick one thing that maybe I didn't like so much, that was kind of hard to see. But again, it made sense. Just in general, I mean, I've been a little like down since we watched the finale because that is it, and it's just so rare. Like Mike was referring to see a show come full circle these days. It's so often canceled early before you get resolution. And, and this particular show, you were so invested in the characters. So that made it even harder to kind of like lose. You feel like you're losing them, even though they all lived.
Hmm.
And the nostalgia piece for me being, the exact age as the kids were portrayed, going through those same years as they did at that same age. It's just a lot of nostalgia around it. So it's just kind of a little sad, that it's
Hmm.
that it's finished, but it's still there to rewatch. So
Yes. Yeah, I
So,
have two moments from the whole series I wanted to bring up. I still think Barb got the raw end of the deal and from season
yeah,
one, but
yeah.
I loved Eddie's arc in season four and the jamming out of Master of Puppets because I'm a Metallica fan.
Oh
So
yeah,
hearing him
yeah.
starting off the Master of Puppets song in season four, I'm
Hmm.
like, oh hell yeah! I can't wait to get it on my speaker bar
Epic.
next time I watch it. But
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
two moments always stick in my head.
so the problem I had with the show is that they took way too long in between episodes and seasons. It just, I understand you want to make once a year. If you're gonna drop them weekly or all the other episodes at once, that's fine. But once a year, don't play games. I don't like that. However,
The
I'm
deck was stacked against them though,
no.
with Cove, the
Listen,
actor and writer strikes.
I get it, but like even now with the finale, there was no COVID and writer strikes, and they had it, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to give you 3 episodes for this day and 3 episodes." You should have gave me all these episodes in November. That's all I'm saying because I hated waiting for them.
You
That's
did?
that's
I
my
liked having
quarrel.
them spread out. I liked having the
It's
three
only it's
parts.
only cool when it's spread out when you're able like what we do with Lincoln Lawyer and Bosch on so many shows.com. When you're breaking down the shows and the recaps and you need more time in between and it gives you time like during the week to look up news and then when you have
Hmm.
your actual podcast, you can break the news while you're breaking down the episode. So I like that aspect of it. When you're doing when you're making somebody wait in between because it allows more news to drop and allows you to have more time to prep and go through trailers and stuff. I was a week to week person, or like a previously on, because I only watched the seasons, the episodes once over. I never really
Yeah.
watched them more than once. So the big moment that I remember, or the last thing I really remember of the show before it got like to me, I lost some of my attention. What was it when what was the guy's name? Hop
Yeah.
Hopper?
was in front of like that big machine and that whatever that collider machine portal thing was and like it,
Hmm.
it zapped him or whatever and that was like
Hmm.
end of one of the seasons and then
Oh
the
yeah. End of season three.
Yep,
Hmm.
yeah,
and the
so
season
that
three.
was when like I was at my hype where I was like, "Oh my God, where is he? What's going on?"
Hmm.
And then I believe that's when season four took a long time to drop and kind of lost a little bit of my attention due to my my anxiety and my
Yeah.
impatience. But I did go back and rewatch episodes even if they were on and I didn't like fully pay attention. And like you said, it's hard to see a series get so good. And I was upset during the finale. I mean. Even when he was telling that story about the mage, I didn't believe she's alive, but it was a good story. I had a tear, like I was like, this story's bullshit while I'm like wiping my tears and blowing my nose. So yeah, like I'm gonna keep it real with that. But
I have a question for you. Do you think you would have liked to have seen Henry come into the story earlier in the earlier seasons than wait until season four? I thought he did an incredible job, and I just wonder would it have
yes, it
been
would have
like,
helped if they would have had some consistency where like even if he was the background villain in season one and like he became like the really bad guy in season four, but you can go always like it gives you the option where you can go back and see him in the background somewhere in season one
mm-hmm,
as if they planned it the whole time because they say when they write stuff, and I don't know how true this is. This is what I hear. They just like they write, they start writing a story, and as they go, they just keep adding shit to the story as they go. So if you're in season three and you're like, oh, we got to prove for season four, and now you're like, oh, well, let's just throw this Henry character in here. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to do, but it's genius because it worked so well, and Henry was such a critical part of the show, and it was awesome. I liked
yeah.
his story. I thought it was cool. And he was a badass.
I thought it was really cool that, I mean, as weird as it sounds, that he didn't have a redemption arc. That scene where he breaks down and says, "No, I
That's
chose
what I
to,"
was waiting
yeah,
for. He was gonna be like, "Yeah, I'll fight the bad guy with you. Everybody come together."
yeah.
La,
It
la,
just,
la, la. But it didn't
yeah.
happen like that. The Munchkins didn't come together. They didn't beat the witch. They joined the witch.
He's a great actor. I think he really delivered on that role.
Great moment. Before we go, I just ask you guys on a scale of 1 to 10, rate the episode. I give it a 7.5.
The last episode,
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
I'll go right in the middle and say an eight.
Okay.
Because going back to what Pete was saying, there's some, things online about this, that, or the other thing. But what happened to the dog type creatures, in that last
Oh
episode?
yeah, Yeah, the
It's like
demo dogs.
it's like I saw a Facebook meme that made me laugh out loud. Or Vecna and Eleven are fighting, and then the dog creature things are all on vacation at
Yeah.
Tahiti with
Yeah.
like hats and beverages in
Right.
their hands. I'm like, yeah, what the hell happened to those things? So yeah, eight for the final episode. Really enjoyed it.
It gave me enough. It gave me a new planet. It gave me new monsters. It gave me what I needed. Great show. Just classic. I really do hope there is something in the works for as far as something else in that world or a spin-off or animation. I mean, give me more Stranger Things, anything, even if it's a different story with a new generation, however you want to play it.
Hmm.
The writers did a great job. Movies, you want to do movies, open up movies, whatever. But for Mike P. Tracy, so many shows, so many shows.com. This is so many mashups. This is Stranger Things, everything, season finale, start, finish, everything. Have a great night, guys. I'll see you later. This is the end of our story for today. Tracy, Mike, say goodbye.
Goodbye. See you next time.
Talk to you on the next one, everybody. Have a great week.